The Nigerian president has expressed desire to have ministers and other strategic public officials come up with key performance indicators with timelines and specific deliverables to serve as a benchmark for monitoring their performance. Now, CNBC Africa's Wole Famara caught up with Sylvester Monye. He's a special advisor on performance in monitoring and evaluation to find out more about this.
What doesn't get measured doesn't really get done. So what the government has tried to do is to introduce measures of assessing the performance of the ministers, heads of agencies of government to ensure that we better deliver on our mandate. One of the implications of that is to change the way we do business in this country. To do that, the first thing we needed to do is to identify sets of key performance indicators. In other words, what is it that we need to use to assess whether a minister is performing or not?
Right.
In the past, we had situations where media houses will do assessment based on their perception. And usually those perceptions are based on purely perception.
So these KPIs are now articulated and they are made public?
They are articulated. They are not quite public yet because we are trying to get everybody to be comfortable with the concept of being assessed by the public. Once the president, who is the employer of the ministers, is happy with the performance of the ministers, then the president will be in a better position to give an opinion or an assessment of the performance of his cabinet. So to that extent, it's a new departure, a whole new departure from the old ways of doing business.
How has that affected how the government is running, though? Can you allude to any examples of the changes you have seen with respect to any of the ministries, perhaps?
Yes, we have. I'll just give you a practical example of how government has performed. One of the things we have done is to look at ministers in very specific priority areas, such as power, to say to Minister of Power, what do you want to get us to get from you? And he said, the former minister who left government said, look, we don't want to talk about megawatts. Megawatts does not translate to power. For instance, currently we produce about 5,000 megawatts, but only about 4,300 goes to the grid.
Right.
So when you say I'm producing 7,000 megawatts, it doesn't actually translate to light. Right. So what we have done is to change that method of assessment to say there are 10 major cities in Nigeria where the minister has committed to providing at least 16 hours of electricity every day. So we will judge him if we have 16 hours of electricity in those cities, okay, plus of course more.
Right.
Similarly, we will also judge him on the efficiency with which the 16 hours is delivered. So there are all sorts of ways with which we are now measuring performance rather than just production of electricity.
Okay, thank you for that example. But one project that I think a lot of business people in Nigeria are really talking about is the road project leading to the Lagos ports, the major ports in Nigeria. Some people have called it a disaster. Some people have called it amazing that such a key route into Nigeria has such a road. Now, can you speak to the issues around that project in particular?
Yes, thank you very much. It's a very critical project and very dear to my heart, as you well know. I'm the chairman of the Ports Reform Committee. One of the key things that the president said to us is that we needed to reduce the number of hours and the cost of doing business around the ports. So we took things in phases. The first thing we needed to do was to remove or streamline the number of agencies operating in the port. There were about 14, meaning that you went through 14 separate checks. We removed that. We changed the system from 14 to 7, but beyond that, we made sure that it's only one inspection. Right. So if there's going to be inspection at the ports, you do all the inspections so once.
Within the port, we've seen key reforms,
we see
which I think the ministers already articulated.
Now, we also felt that Nigeria is the only country in the world where ports open 9 to 5. All other ports, including Cotonou ports, open 9 to 24 hours. So we needed to open 24 hours to be in line with international best practices. We did a lot of changes in the ports. We abolished a number of initiatives such as the cargo tracking notes. The result was dramatic.